Okay, and it looks like we're recording. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to go ahead and call this session of the City of Ocean Shores Hearing Examiner to order. For the record, today is September 27th, 2023, just after 10 a.m. We have one item on the agenda today, number RUE 23012, a request for approval of a reasonable use exception, or RUE for short, to allow for the development of a single-family residence within the buffer area associated with an offsite Category 3 wetland on an approximately 0.2 acre property located at 148 Marine View Drive Southeast. My name is Peregrine Sorter. I'm a hearing examiner with Laminar Law, whom the city has selected to hold certain land use hearings like this one. It will be my role today to collect evidence in the form of exhibits and testimony to determine whether the proposal complies with the city comprehensive plan, zoning ordinances, critical areas ordinances, and the specific criteria for approval of a reasonable use exception. That end, I received and reviewed several exhibits in advance of the hearing. These include the staff report prepared by city staff, the application and project plans, a critical areas report and buffer averaging plan prepared by Convergent Ecosystems, and various notice materials. And I will go ahead and admit these exhibits into the record. Should anyone have any additional exhibits that they would like admitted into the record, please let me know when it is your opportunity to testify, and I will go ahead and address admitting additional exhibits at that time. Speaking of testimony, all testimony today will be under oath or affirmation because were my decision to be appealed, the recording of today's hearing, along with the admitted exhibits and my written decision, would serve as the foundation for any such appeal. I may ask questions of those who are testifying today. I assure you I'm not trying to trip anyone up. I am just trying to ensure that I have a clear understanding of the proposal so that after the record closes, I am able to produce a decision that is hopefully clear and legally defensible. The order that we typically follow, and I believe we will be following today, is first we will hear from city staff, who will provide an overview of the proposal along with any recommendations that the city may have. Following that, we will hear from the applicant and see if there's any additional information they feel that myself or members of the public should be aware of in advance of my decision being issued. After that, members of the public will have an opportunity to testify. And finally, following any public testimony, we will turn back to the applicant and the city as necessary for any response. I think with that, we can get started. Who do we have on behalf of the city today?
Yeah, good morning, Peregrine. We're going to change it up a little bit for those of you that have attended our hearings. My planner, Chris Bro, is going to be presenting the staff report today on behalf of the city. And so she will be sworn in as the city's representative for that portion.
Great, Ms. Bro, let's get you sworn in. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
I do.
Thank you. And can you please spell your name for the audio recording and explain your role at the city?
Christina, Christina, Bro, Breault, and I'm the city planner in Ocean Shores.
Thank you, Ms. Bro. Did my summary of the exhibits track with what you were hoping I would review in advance of the hearing?
Yes, it did.
Thank you. You may proceed with your presentation when you're ready.
The city received the application on August 31st of 2023, and this report was made on September 14th of 2023. The purpose of this application for a RUE is to authorize impacts to a wetland buffer for a single family residency in R1 zone. No impacts. The proposal is to average buffering to achieve no net loss. The applicants are Gregory and Rachel Robinson of Roy, Washington. The project description: the Robinson single family residency is located at 148 Marine View Drive Southeast. It is of 8,993 square feet with 0 feet of total proposed impacts. The existing conditions are the zoning of R1, land use single family, shoreline no, wetland category 3 interdunal, buffering width of 80 feet. The surrounding conditions, the zoning North, south, east, and west is all R1 undeveloped. The land use designation, north, south, east, and west is single family. The existing land use, north, south, east, and west also is vacant and undeveloped land. Background. The subject property addressed at 148 Marine View Drive Southeast is located in the southeast corner of Ocean Shores. The closest intersecting road is roughly 325 feet north at Seabreeze Loop Southeast. The property is zoned R1. It is located in a single family zone. The zoning is in immediate vicinity exclusive to R1 and impacting the lot for a single family dwelling is permitted in this use of district. Notice. Public notices for the reasonable use exception application, RUE 23012, scheduled for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023 at 10, were sent out to owners 300 feet of the subject property on September 15th, as required under Ocean Shores Municipal Code 175290. The hearing information was also available on the Ocean Shores website at osgov.com. The notice of public hearing was provided to the Daily World newspaper for publication on September 19th and also on September 21st, 2023 editions. The staff analysis. The staff has determined that the proposed project is listed as a permitted use as defined underneath the Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1716-28. Wetland buffers exist on this parcel and the surrounding parcels which require approved reasonable use exceptions to impact any wetland or buffer. The purpose of the RUE is to allow use of the parcel that would be allowed and in all respects otherwise in accordance with the requirements of the applicable development regulations of the city. Provided all that the reasonable measures to avoid and minimize impacts to any wetland and areas associated with buffers are applied, and the applicant demonstrates that the project has been approved under all federal, state, and regulatory programs applicable to the project. Any impacts on the wetland or the buffer must be compensated for or through mitigation measures where on-site and off-site mitigation is feasible and compensatory mitigation may be authorized under the Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1902-150B. Standard review. The process obtained for the reasonable use exception shall be the same process of the criteria applicable to the condition use permit. 1752-050 criteria for consideration for considered use before conditional use permit is granted. The hearing examiner must determine the following. A, the use that is applied for either listed for conditional uses allowed for the district is significantly similar to one or more listed uses. B, approval for the permit will be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and applicable provisions of the comprehensive plan. It will not adversely affect other uses or properties in the immediate vicinity. C, granting the permit does not reduce the dimensional requirements of this district. And D, no nuisance of life, limb, or property will develop. Code analysis. This project may be allowed in the R1 zone per city code. Permitted shall follow a single family residency. The development will be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and will not adversely affect other uses or properties in the immediate vicinity. The district is intended for low density detached single family dwellings in order to assure maximum light, air, and open space, privacy, and protection of the property values. Other uses should be allowed if they're not compatible with the values and consistent with the overall public interest. Where the proposed use appears consistent with the purpose of this district. A, the proposed site plan shall conform to all city standards, approving the applicant would not reduce the dimensional requirements of this district. And B, there is no indication that allowing the single family residency in this zone would create any nuisance of life, limb, or property. Should I ask you about this one?
Sure.
Would you like me to read the summary?
Maybe if you can just summarize some of the analysis. We don't need to go over the criteria.
Okay, the relevant code at 1902-90 wetland delineation and protection. The Ocean Shores Municipal Code outlines 5 possible criteria to regulate development activities in the wetland and associated buffers. Only number 1 through 3 apply to this proposal. The hearing examiner, after review of the pursuant to section 1902-150, finds that 1, no practical alternative exists for the design and development of the use of the property in a manner that doesn't encroach the wetland or the buffer. B, precludes use of the property that would be otherwise legal under all applicable city development regulations and feasible based on the character and circumstances of the property. And C, the project incorporated measures to provide for compliance with subsection D of this section. The proposed development within the original platted area and the use of specified original plans of the Ocean Shores community as evidence of the covenants and conditions of the restrictions attached to this property. And by the development of the first sale of lots, all respects otherwise in accordance with the requirements of all the applicable development regulations of the city, provided that the reasonable measure is to avoid minimize impact to any wetland area or associated buffer are applied, and the applicant demonstrates that the project has been approved under all federal, state, and regulatory programs applicable to the project. The Robinson project is located in R1 zoning district where single-family residence is designated as a permitted use. It would be legally under the applicable city development regulations and feasible based on the conditions of this parcel. The typical single-family residential site design in the Ocean Shores utilizes a majority of the parcel for structure, parking, and custom landscape. This in addition to the area required for constructing a home. As the typical design has encroached into the delineated buffer, the Robinson parcel, the project was designed to minimize any impacts. The wetlands associated with this project are located off-site, which inherently avoids direct wetland impact. The applicant.
Ms. Bro,
Yes.
if I may interrupt, I think we can kind of touch on some of the city's analysis. I have some questions, and I think that'll kind of highlight the city's analysis here, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Thank you. So I do have a good understanding of this project from my prior review of the record. I do have some technical questions, and I see that the applicant's expert is present. So if the city's not opposed, I'd like to get Ms. Baker sworn in so she's available to provide any clarification. Is
Yes.
that okay with the city?
Yes.
Ms. Baker, is that okay with you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
I do.
Thank you. And can you please state and spell your name for the record and explain your role with the project?
My name is Rosemary Baker, Rosemary, Baker. I am a wetlands biologist. My company is Convergent Ecosystems, and I am the applicant's consultant.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. So I'm going to direct my questions to the city, but feel free to chime in if you have any clarifications. Okay, so first, it appears from the record that there is a Category 3 wetland that's located entirely off-site, but the protective buffer extends onto approximately half of the subject property. Is that your understanding, Ms. Bro?
Correct.
And so development of this property with a modestly sized single-family residence while complying with the applicable setback requirements of the municipal code, is it your determination that that would not be feasible without encroaching on the buffer area?
Correct.
Thank you. And then perhaps this is best directed for Ms. Baker. I just want some clarification on the habitat score for this offsite wetland. The several sections of your wetland report indicate that it has a habitat score of 4, but there's one section that says 5 at page 12 of the report. So I just want to make sure I'm reading that correctly.
Okay, one moment.
At page 12 of the report, I think it indicates, and that might just be a typo or I'm misunderstanding.
I see. On page 12.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's It's a score of 4, so that's a typo.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I just note that this habitat score determination could be significant because under the state wetland rating system, which the city has adopted in its code by reference, habitat score of 4 would generally require an 80-foot buffer for this type of project, where score of 5 would require a larger 150-foot buffer. But to be clear, it is a habitat score of 4.
Correct.
Great, thank you. And then again, referring to the state rating system, it appears that either a buffer reduction or buffer averaging could be utilized. In certain circumstances, the wetland report references both avenues, but to be clear, the applicant is proposing to utilize buffer averaging. Is that correct?
That is correct. My report probably stated both options as allowed, as you said. But that in this case, the better option is when you can average. So that's what we
Yeah,
propose.
and that seemed to be the case. I was just asking because my understanding is that if the applicant were to utilize a buffer reduction, certain additional measures may be required, like stormwater management and such. And I just want to make sure I don't need to impose any additional conditions here.
That's
Okay,
correct. Mhm.
thank you. And then as far as the buffer averaging, I believe the applicant is proposing to reduce the total area of the existing buffer by 1,500 square feet. And that would be at approximately the center of the property, and then would add an additional 1,505 square feet of buffer area along the northern property line.
That's correct.
And you've determined that that proposal would result in no net loss of ecological function?
Correct. Yes. All of that reduction and or addition is contiguous with what would remain, and it's all the same habitat type. Should have no effect on the habitat.
Great, thank you very much. I do not have any additional questions for the city or Miss Baker at this time. Are there any other members of city staff that are going to be testifying here today?
No, not at this time, not if not needed.
Thank you. And Ms. Baker, do you have any additional testimony that you'd like to provide at this time?
I do not.
Thank you. And do we have the applicant here and available?
I'm here, Rachel. My husband had to work.
Hi, Rachel. Let me go. I have this one quick question for you. So if we can get you sworn in, and
Okay.
I can trust that you have your right hand up.
You want me to show my video?
You may. It's up to you. It's okay with me either way.
Right hand.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And can you please state and spell your name for the record?
It's Rachel Robinson, Rachel Robinson, Robinson.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. As I mentioned, I have one quick question for you, but if you would like to present any additional information about this project, this is your opportunity.
No, everything. Yeah, we're just here to see whether we could do anything on the property or, yeah.
Great. So I just wanted to ask you if you've had the opportunity to review the conditions that were recommended by city staff?
Yeah, we've seen all the paperwork.
And would you have any issues with complying with those conditions? Should I approve this project?
No, there's no issues.
Great, thank you. And do you have any other witnesses that you would like to present today?
No, it's just me.
Great. Well, thank you very much. At this time, we will turn to any members of the public that would like to testify. Ms. Bro, is there anyone in the room? It doesn't appear so, that would like to testify today.
No, there's not.
Great. And then, so we have some people on Zoom. Let's start with, looks like Doppelmayr. Would you like to provide any comments at today's hearing? I can't hear you. You're on mute. you can shake your head yes or no if you would like to. No, okay. Thank you for being here. And then I have a David Ray.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Would you like to present some testimony today?
No, just listening in as we're property owners of in a couple of parcels down. So just interested in the information and what we are going to be looking at if we ever decide to do any improvements on there. So very interested in what's happening.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. And then I have an Amy's iPhone. Someone labeled Amy's iPhone. I can see the video is turned on. You're on mute. Would you like to provide any testimony today?
No, I have no comment.
Great. Thank you for being here. So with that, Ms. Bro, do you have any last thoughts on behalf of the city on this project?
No.
Well, thank you. This appears fairly straightforward, and I don't say this often, but from what my review and everything I've heard today, I'm going to have no issue with approving this project with the conditions that are approved or that were recommended by city staff, and I intend to issue a decision within 10 business days to that effect. I want to thank everyone for participating today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Peregrine.
very much.
Thank you.